tea. How we darn. Let me know who's in the chat, who I'm hanging out with. It's a great day to be great. And for me, it's 11:07 a.m. For you, it's 7:07 p.m. And it's 5 o'clock somewhere. And you know what that means. It's time to do a mock draft. Hey, do me a massive favor. If you don't mind, could you drop a like on the stream?
You like that? You like that?
If you like the content, it is the most easy way to support what we do, to support our channel, to help us grow as we put the time and the work in to get you guys some amazing content. And it's the easiest way for you guys to support what we do. Check this out. On last week's live stream, I can't believe this. I'm not sure if we've ever had this many likes. I could be wrong, but you guys went absolutely nuclear with the likes. 304 likes. Are you guys kidding me? Thank you so much. That is genuinely incredible. Every like does help. It does help us grow, and we saw a lot of growth this week, both from the videos and from the live stream. So I really do appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much for the likes, for the support, for the continual support. So it does mean a whole lot. Hey, if you are here and you're watching the live stream and you're not aware, I just released a video that was the culmination of pretty much a month's work. I would say that pretty confidently. About a month's work and of scouting, researching, video editing, all in between. To give you my top 10 wide receivers for the 2023 class. So I'm going to paste that in the chat. If you haven't watched it, feel free to queue it up for next, but very curious to see everyone's thoughts. The feedback has been great. And honestly, I don't think this video probably gets like the most views we've ever had, but I think this is the video that I'm most proud of that we've made so far in the past 2 years since Fantasyland started, in the past year since DynastyLand started. So put a ton of work into it, and I'm very proud of it, and always wanting to improve as well at the same time. So thanks for the love on that video, and hopefully it's also brought some information and some knowledge, because that's really the phase that we're in right now of the off season. We are in a knowledge phase. Okay, so don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to have opinions and you know, not to be consensus or status quo. It's okay to ask questions, to poke holes in thoughts and prospects. And it's okay for your top 5 to look completely different in 2 months, and then draft season it to look different again. So it's a stage of knowledge. No question's the wrong question. So just know that as we're kind of heading into that season. What's up, J-Rock? Jacob says, Anthony Richardson first overall. I'm ready. Time to mix it up. Bijan and all of that. What's up, Cole? Tanner says, please do a 2-round mock draft. I need to know if the late seconds are getting worth it. Yep, we always do a 2-round. I might do a 3-round here if enough people. Do you guys know enough people? Because I'm down to do a 3-round. What I didn't want to do is do like a 3-round mock, and then people are like, I don't know any more rookies, you know, when they're drafting with me. Yes, rest in peace, Mike Leach. Definitely changed a lot of football for sure. RIP Leach for sure. What's up, Steven? Love the grind. Appreciate you, J-Rock. Can we get an RB video next? Yes, I am probably going to be doing that in January, if I'm honest with you guys, because that wide receiver video, man, I genuinely loved it. I loved it so much. I love the research. I love the scouting. I love the analytics. But it took a lot out of me. Like, I genuinely, specifically last weekend, I spent about 10 hours every day leading up to the release day. Final scouting, final research, editing. It took a lot out of me. So with it being so close to Christmas and my family wanting to do certain things, I'm definitely going to bring an RB video for you guys, but it will be in January when I've had a little bit of a relaxing session to kind of gear back up for the year. So yeah, production was nice. Thank you. I appreciate that, Dylan. You're a beast. Thanks, G Money. Let's do it. 3-round. Hell yeah. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so if you guys want to join today's mock draft, And actually, if you don't know what's happening, we're doing a mock draft. So if you guys want to join, it's quite simple. Join our Discord with the link in the description. I will paste that as well in the chat now. So the Discord is in the description. It's also in the YouTube chat now. And there is a text channel called Dynasty Mock Drafts. In that text channel is where I send the sleeper link out for you guys to join me. We obviously need to edit this because it's not a startup draft. That's what we did yesterday. So it's a Dynasty rookie draft. And honestly, if you guys ever want to do rookie drafts with your friends or whatever, I mean, this is the settings that we're looking at, right? It's the 15th for me. I'm in the future. We'll go linear here, 2 quarterback, 12. We'll put it on 2 minutes because it's a rookie draft. Update that. Roster settings. I guess like they don't have any rookies yet, so I don't know what you guys would do actually, but you could figure it out. We'll go 3 rounds, and there we go. So, again, guys, thanks so much for the love, for the support. I'm genuinely shocked at this amount of likes on a stream. I don't know if we've ever reached that many, so thank you so much. This was last week's rookie draft stream. Okay, so we're doing a rookie draft Dynasty Superflex startup, and I'm gonna go ahead and again quickly remind you guys that join our Discord if you want to be a part of these. If you're just here to watch, then just chill, do your thing, baby. No stress at all. But I will go ahead and paste the link in the Discord for those who are planning on joining us. Okay, so here comes the link. Actually, quickly, what spot do you guys want me to take? Because I feel like you guys keep putting me in really uncomfortable positions when I ask you, which I like. I like being in those positions where I'm like, damn, this sucks. So comment down below, guys. Let me know, where do you want me to draft? What position here, from 1 to 12? I'll take any spot. It's going to be the most commented position. Could I join this mock, or is it filled? So basically, guys, it's a free-for-all in the Discord. Keep in mind, there's 11 free spots after me, and there's almost 1,000 of you in there. So everyone's welcome to join. I just can't guarantee it. One of the best Dynasty channels out there is criminal how low your subscribers is. I appreciate that, man. Definitely appreciate that. Growing each day, though. It's the steady climb for us, which is cool to see. I like the 24 class as well. I like it a lot. All right, 6, 7, 5, 6, 6, 3, 6, 1, 7, 5. I feel like I'm reading. I feel like I'm on like some sort of, I don't know. 4, 3, 8, 5, 4, 5, 7. Okay, there's a lot of 5 and 6s in there. There's another 6. Should I go 6? I feel like there's most like 6 and 7, 5 and 6s there. 1, 2. Oh, that's 3 6s. Oh, sorry. There's actually 5 6s. Okay, you know what? We're gonna go 6 here. We're gonna rock with number 6, and I'm gonna go ahead and copy the invite link. So here comes the link to join me again in our Discord in the Dynasty Mock Drafts text channel. Here it comes. Only 11 of you are going to be able to get in. Hey, if you've been in the last couple ones, can I just say, maybe sit this one out. Try and let some other people get in. But also, if you don't get into today's mock, please be aware that we're going to have so many mock drafts. Don't worry. When it comes mid-January, you're going to see like 4 or 5 mock drafts a week. Maybe more. I don't feel like anyone does as many live mock drafts as we do in Dynasty rookie drafts when it comes to that season. So don't stress. Like, it's actually lame when people say that. I'm sure there's people out there who do it. There's so many good people in the industry. Anyway, here it comes. We're 5 people in our Discord away from 1,000, which is crazy. All right, here it comes. Here comes the money, baby. I actually want to ask you guys a question. Because, so in my home Dynasty League, I felt really good about my chances in the playoffs. I'm the 3 seed, I'm 9-5, but I have taken a beating with injuries, and I've just pushed through it. I lost Javonte, right? I lost Kyle Pitts, which I know that's not that big of a deal, but I lost him this year. Didn't have a great replacement, but I was still feeling fine. I still had replacements, but the last straw for me was Kyler Murray going down. I had Pat Mahomes and Kyler Murray in a Superflex league. Those were my pillars, man. I am looking at the other teams, and I'm thinking to myself, I really don't think I can make it. I don't know what to do. I got to figure out what to do there. Okay, so this is a Superflex Dynasty rookie mock draft. I'll be honest, guys, because I know people comment this every once in a while. Hey, will you ever do one quarterback stuff? No. There are a lot of good channels out there who do. We just don't play in any one quarterback dynasty leagues. We full-heartedly believe that if you're going to start a dynasty league today, then it should be Superflex. So that's just the type of content that we put out. So let's get on the same page for a second. We are doing a dynasty rookie Superflex startup draft, non-tight end premium. We do have landing spots. So if you want to see the landing spots, it's in the Discord. I'll put it in the chat, and it's also in the description. But these are the landing spots. We got Bryce Young to the Texans, CJ Stroud to the Seahawks. I know that they said that they're going to extend Geno. What we're doing with this, the purpose of this mock draft, is to act as if these landing spots are the real landing spots. So it doesn't matter about Geno Smith anymore in this mock draft, in this scenario, if he was to go to that team. We can say it's unrealistic, that's fine, but for this purpose, where these guys should be valued, that's what we're doing. And then also, draft capital is important with some of these running backs. We got Will Levis to the Colts. Quentin Johnston is a Panther, and I don't love that with them not having any clear quarterback fix, even though I love Quentin. Addison is a Packer. Michael Mayer is a Lion. Jackson Smith and Jigba is a Charger. Hey, who watched the wide receiver video? I love Jackson Smith. Bijan is a Buck. Anthony Richardson's a Giant. I like that landing spot for him. I really do with the coaching staff they have. Jahmyr Gibbs is a Bill. Darnell Washington is a Saint. Jalen Hyatt's a Falcon. Gross. Rashee Rice is a Jag. Downs is a Brown. Hendon Hooker is a Raider. Zay Flowers is a Pat. We've got Dalton Kincaid as a Texan. Cedric Tillman is a Bear. Zach Evans goes to the Cardinals. I like that. Marvin Mims to the Texans. Luke Musgrave to the Chargers. Tanner McKee. Devin Akane to the Dolphins. Sean Tucker is a Bengal. Might have to wait a couple years to make an impact there. Xavier Hutchinson, X gon' give it to you, is a Raven. Don't like that landing spot. Love me some X though. And Rakeem is a Giant. So those landing spots are there if you want to follow along. We'll try and keep track of them. They were the same landing spots as yesterday's Dynasty startup as well. So we're going to go ahead and get this started. But just before we get this started, I've asked in the last couple streams, and I've gotten a lot of good response and a lot of cool comments over on Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, consider dropping me a follow if you're in that Twitter sphere, that Twitter space. I like to try and tweet out things about buy low opportunities in Dynasty, about, if there's sell highs, or about prospects, or about future classes, trying to highlight. Like I've tried to highlight names like Braylon Allen. In the past, highlighted Quinshon Judkins when he was recruited. So, I'm trying my best to be active because I know it's a big part of the industry. So if you are on Twitter and you want to drop me a follow, that would be very, very kind of you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get this started. 2 minutes on the clock. Obviously, you draft a kicker. We'll find out who it is. We'll pause it. We'll talk about that player, and we will move on. So we'll find out who this is here at the 1-1. I'm assuming it's Bijan, but I don't want to assume, because what does assuming do? Makes an ass out of you and me. So let's see who this is. This is Bijan Robinson. Big surprise. Bijan Robinson. And, I've had a couple people who have asked me recently, what do you make of Bijan's speed? I will say this. Game speed doesn't worry me. I don't know what he's going to test out at, but I know that the NFL and GMs care a lot about the combine, okay? They care a lot about the combine. So we'll have to see what he tests out at. I think he could run like a 4.45 and still be a first-round pick. He is an all-around player. all-around running back. Not only is he an incredible as a rusher, but he's also incredible as a receiver as well. He's running legit routes out of the backfield. They could line him up in the slot. This is truly a do-it-all player. Great strength, great size. I think he has incredible burst and vision. And I said this yesterday as well on the Dynasty on the startup stream, but what you guys will notice, and we're already seeing it happens earlier and earlier every year, but what you'll notice is there's going to start to be this content coming out that is going to nitpick every prospect that you love. And why does that happen? Why do you think? Because people want clicks, and they want subscribers, they want retention rates, they want to make money off of ads, etc. We're in a content-driven world, and if everyone was to just be on the same page about players, then content's not going to blow up like that. So you're going to start to, we're already hearing about CJ Stroud, and yes, there are definitely weaknesses in some of these players' games, but we're in the phase right now of content of the draft where it'll be even crazier like February, but we're in that phase where you're going to start to see little nitpicky things. You know, Bijan's really not an elite prospect. I mean, look at the speed. Like, we'll nitpick here and there. Like, no, it's to create content. And will we contribute to that as a channel? Probably, but that will only be if we have genuine belief on what we're saying. We're not going to do something just for content's sake. So just be aware. You're going to see a lot of that. And I know there were some questions about Bijan. He, for me, is the unquestioned 101. Way less risk, way higher hit rate on running backs with his type of skill set. So I like it. Bijan at the 101. How do we feel about Ken Walker versus the Niners? Don't want to start Ken Walker, man. I really think there's better options out there. That is the best rush defense in the NFL. Pick 3 if you have Mahomes and T-Law at quarterback. What? What do you do if they extend Geno and draft CJ? Oof. Probably assume that CJ's the future. That's what I would assume. All right, the biggest, the surprise of the day so far, and I think you're going to see this a lot if he gets the right draft capital. That is Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson goes as the first quarterback off the board here to Rude. I have been a big Anthony Richardson fanboy before the year. Was definitely disappointed at the lack of progress I felt like he made this year. But when you compare Anthony Richardson and Will Levis, I have troubles with understanding why people are preferring Will Levis. I mean, they're both very unpolished quarterbacks who need to take massive strides in their game. But I would argue that Anthony Richardson is the far better mold of clay to mold than Will Levis. Dude is a freak athlete, bigger body, Cam Newton size body, extremely athletic, great speed, good acceleration, can run the ball, has a freaking rocket for an arm. So does Will, I understand. But if I'm looking at both of these guys, I'm thinking to myself, I feel like Anthony Richardson has like true top 5 quarterback in the NFL upside. Will Levis, to me, I think has similar upside, but I just want the like ideal build it in 2K player like Anthony Richardson. So I don't think this is crazy. And honestly, with the landing spot that he received, because let's keep in mind, we are making these picks based off of landing spots. And who here is going to say that Anthony Richardson in the first round, he got first round draft capital to the Giants? Who here is going to say that that's not a great organization to land in right now? With Brian Dable leading, looks like a competent organization, competent coaching staff, have made Daniel Jones look like a potential franchise quarterback. I'm not saying he's like top 10, but has made him look like a legit potential franchise quarterback, and was also a part of the same coaching staff that was able to take Josh Allen and turn him into an MVP type player. So I understand that there will be some pushback on Anthony Richardson, for me, I will say, and I've said it for a long time, I am not as confident in my ability to scout quarterbacks as I am NFL GMs. Quarterbacks are the most difficult position to scout, no question, because stats are misleading. Stats are more meaningless for the quarterback position than any other type of prospect that you're going to scout. So I don't think this is crazy to take Anthony Richardson there. I think you're going to have a lot of people who start to do this as we get closer to draft season. Love the landing spot, and that's going to be important for me. What's the landing spot? Is there a history of success of building around a project quarterback? And the other questions I've heard about Anthony was, well, why didn't we learn from Malik Willis? My response to the Malik Willis conversation is Malik Willis was a 3rd round pick. We are making this decision based off of 1st round draft capital. You don't make the same investment in a play. The Titans had many chances, guys, to draft Malik Willis. There is a very good chance that he is a future backup forever. He's a project and he could turn out, but when you spend 1st round draft capital, that is a completely different commitment from an organization. So I don't think this is crazy. Would I do it? I don't know. I mean, I think there are easier hits. That's where I struggle with the Anthony Richardson and Will Levis debate. I think there are easier hits in this class. But the upside, hey, okay, Drew. But the upside is absolutely through the roof astronomical. So anyway, wanted to share my thoughts there because I know that's a big conversation point right now. All right, let's see who is numero tres. Who is numero tres? Okay, so we got Stroud. Wow, this has gone a little wonky. I didn't expect this to start this way, but I like the chaos. We thrive in the chaos. We were born in the darkness. I like it. Okay, so CJ Stroud goes ahead of Bryce Young. Would I make that pick? Okay, Carl. So would I make that pick? Probably not. If I'm going quarterback, it would be Bryce for me. But the landing spot, how do you argue with that landing spot? Again, we are doing this exercise as if these landing spots are real. The draft capital is real. It's otherwise the landing spots are just pointless to just have them. So for him to land with the Seahawks at 2, great head coach, turned Geno Smith into a practice squad player, back up into an MVP candidate. You put CJ Stroud in that system with those weapons around him, an improving offensive line, a franchise left tackle already there. I mean, why not consider CJ Stroud this high? It's I can understand. Okay. How do I get back to the other screen? All right, let's see who is numero uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
What the?
I love how like the pick goes and then it's just a lot of talk. Do you guys enjoy the side conversations or do you just want to get through it? Let me know. I'm trying to lower this screen. Where are we at? Okay. Let me know. Let me know the vibes. Vibe check. Okay. So this is Bryce Young off the board. Makes a lot of sense. I would be shocked if Bryce Young ends up available at the 1-4 in your rookie drafts. Now, anything's possible. You know, the amount of rookie drafts I did last year where things that I never thought would happen happened, it happened really often. I mean, in one of our follower leagues, we have a huge Chiefs fan, Jacob. Shout out to him. I love him. Like, good guy. But he took Sky Moore at the 104. And I was able to trade out of that. So, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, crazy things happen all the time in your rookie drafts, especially in your home leagues. You might be the only person who, on a Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. is watching Dynasty content in your Dynasty League. You know, like, not everyone is going to make the straightforward call. So, okay, so we see Bryce Young go off the board. I think that makes a lot of sense, especially at the 104. That's a no-brainer for me. I wonder, did they get him any help in this draft? What'd they do with their second pick? They went tackle. Okay. Do they need to go tackle there? I don't know. So they go edge next. So I'm assuming they didn't really do much. Dalton Kincaid. Okay, Marvin Mims, but why would you draft Marvin Mims? Why would you make that? That's a terrible pick, but anyway. I mean, really? With help me remember, guys. With what's his face coming back? John Mechie. That's what I was trying to say. Why would you take Marvin Mims there? I don't know. Anyway. Tankathon, sometimes I wonder. No, you're a great resource. Okay, let's continue on here with the 105. Looks like you guys are going to give me an easy-ass decision here at the 1-6. I was worried about what I was going to do. Casey. Actually, Casey, whatever you do here, I'm happy with the player that's going to be available to me. There's 2 players I love here. So let me know which one I'm getting. What we doing, Casey? What we doing? The one. I think I know who it is. The only. Jackson Smith and Jigba. I hope if I can be known for anything in the Dynasty community for the 2023 draft class, I want to be known for restoring the Jackson Smith and Jigba hype. I want to be known for that. I love him. Absolutely love him. We released a video literally hours ago, about 6, 7, 8 hours ago, and I gave you guys my top 10 for the 2023 class, and I am obsessed with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Incredible as a route runner, broke out at the age of 19. I think he's a can't miss prospect. Exceptional footwork, really good after the catch. Doesn't have elite speed, but has great explosiveness. Posted an elite 84.8 reception percentage in 2021, because we can't look at 2022 film. That's not a good sample size. And check this out. In 2021, amongst wide receivers who had at least 55 receptions, JSN had the #1 contested catch rate at 90%. That is elite, especially when you're seeing 112 targets. For reference, he had 90% contested catch rate. His teammates were at 61.5 and 62.5. Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Other people in that class, London was at 65.4. Traylon was at 43.8. So, and then you look at his yak, 8.3 yards after the catch per reception, 10th best in the country of hundreds of players. I love Jackson Smith. When I watch his film, I see a Keenan Allen, a Larry Fitzgerald, a Cooper Kupp, and a very safe floor. He doesn't even need to have a high 40 time to be a superstar in the NFL, because all the comps I just gave you, none of them ran higher than a 4.6. All of them ran a 4.6 or below. So I'm a huge Jackson Smith fan, obsessed with his film, and I don't think he should be penalized because he was injured. I mean, why did no one penalize Jamar Chase because he took out an entire year during COVID? Like, why are we switching it up when we want to? So big Jackson Smith stan myself. I love it, and I would encourage you guys to go watch that that video I released today on my top 10 wide receivers. Okay. So we got a big decision here. Tyler Bass. We got Harrison Butker. What do we think? Let's go Bass. Butker's been off it lately. This is going to be Jahmyr Gibbs. This is a no-brainer pick for me. If I'm at the 106 in my rookie drafts and Jahmyr Gibbs falls to me, I mean, I'm feeling like I was just handed a gift. And in fact, I probably have the least risk of anyone on the board. Actually, no, I don't. Bijan's a lock and Jackson's a lock. But I've like eliminated all risk. Sure, I don't have access to the quarterbacks that I wanted, but I know I've just hit. I know that the hit rate on running backs is going to be much higher, as it has been historically, than it is for for quarterback. So love Jahmyr Gibbs. The comps I have given for him is Aaron Jones, Alvin Kamara. And specifically this year, where he really shined was when Bryce Young was out and they asked him to do everything. Because there was a point there where there was some concern over the lack of use on the ground for Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Then Bryce Young goes down and he carries them, extremely efficient on the ground, puts up over 150-yard performances on the ground, and we know what he can do through the air. Great film, great short area explosiveness, and long run speed. He can instantly offer an offense dual threat out of the backfield. Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, day one as a rookie. This is someone who, this is your Ken Walker, who is a league winner at the end of the year. This is your Breece Hall, who could win you a league if he stays healthy, as well as Bijan obviously in this class. So I like it. I'll take him here.
What the?
Let's see who this is next. I'm going to try and keep up with the draft. Walmart Malik Willis. Talking through everyone is great. Okay, that's good to hear. I like hearing your thoughts for sure. Okay, awesome. I'm only here for the convo. We basically pick the same order every day anyway. It's true. Is there a team out there that Bijan could go to where he wouldn't be the 101? Not for me. No, not for me. Okay, there goes Jordan Addison off the board. You know, this is where your evaluation is really gonna, it's where the rubber hits the road. Because for me, in rookie drafts, I primarily focus on getting the talents I like. I would say quarterback, landing spot matters immensely, but running back, wide receivers, I'm typically, like, what my evaluation says is what I'm gonna follow. So I have Addison as my wide receiver 3, but I understand that Addison has a much better landing spot than Quentin Johnston in this specific mock draft, in this specific scenario. So I can understand why he would be taken over Quentin Johnston. We'll talk a little bit about him in a second. Let me just line him up here and try and get him looking all nice. Okay, Jordan Addison. Let's quickly talk about him. My wide receiver 3 in this year's class. Of course, things can change, and I'm sure they will. It's a fluid list. But really clear strengths and a couple weaknesses that do concern me. As a route runner, he's up there. He's up there with the Chris Olaves of last year's class, the Garrett Wilson. He can create separation very, very easily. Good footwork off the line of scrimmage. Those twitchy movements that you want, the body fakes, the head fakes, the I'm going out. Oh, and now you're fully committed. Oh, I'm going up the field and I've completely lost you on the route. Very good technique. Great route runner. I will say, though, he worries me a little bit in press coverage. A lot of these wide receivers, you don't see press coverage all that much in college. You see more zone than anything. So they're getting those free releases off the line of scrimmage. They can find space easily within the zone. But I will say I'm worried slightly about Addison in press coverage because we didn't see that all that much. And when we did, he did have a little bit of troubles fighting off, you know, kind of like the hands from the defender off the line of scrimmage. Specifically, if you want to go back and watch the conference championship game versus Utah, I mean, he didn't get shut down, but in press, he was certainly not. Hey, exhausted. He didn't get shut down, but he certainly did not win that matchup. If anything, it was 50-50 between those two. So very good production. I mean, broke out from the age of 18. Huge numbers. I wouldn't say elite speed, but definitely is a burner. I have, like I said, some concerns with his size and what that will mean versus NFL cornerbacks, but also after the catch. I think that's the one thing that really, for me, separated him from the other top 3 guys in this class. After the catch, man, you guys let me know. I was not blown away after the catch. Like, hey, maybe we'll have to turn the audio off just so we can get through a conversation. Thank you for the subs, though, guys. You guys are awesome. Specifically after the catch, that worries me a little bit. Was not as elusive as I thought he would be at all in the open field. If you get your hands on him, he's likely going down. And Quentin Johnston has like this signature, I call it like a leverage spin after the catch, if you've seen his film. Whereas Jordan Addison, I don't think he has like this signature calling card after the catch to get him into the open space. Concerns me a little bit. Don't like the elusiveness. So those are my slight concerns. But I will say, same concerns people had about Devonta Smith coming out. Devonta Smith was able to, as of now, he's played a lot outside. I think it's like, 70-80% this year he's played outside. He's still been in the slot a little bit, but I think Addison could be like the perfect complement to a big body wide receiver. I think that would be the ideal landing spot for him. And in this mock draft where we have landing spots, he landed with the Packers. So you got Watson, who is your 6'5", burner speed. I think that could be a really good combination. In fact, there's been times when I've seen Quentin Johnston mocked to the Packers and I've thought, man, Addison would be such a better landing spot or a better fit with what they currently have. So it makes sense. The landing spot's good. Obviously, you have your question marks, as you're going to have, about Aaron Rodgers. How much longer does he have left? Is Jordan Love going to be the guy soon? Will he be able to support multiple receivers? So there's a lot of conversation points to be had around Addison this year. And also if a receiver goes to Green Bay. So we see Addison off the board. I just want to say a huge thank you, guys. This stream is popping. 164 people watching. I have a like goal of 125 likes for today's stream. Last stream we had I think over 300 a week later, which is incredible. You guys are awesome. So do me a favor, if you can support the channel, drop a like.
Like that? You like.
Thank you for the sub. But yeah, 167 people watching. If everyone drops a like right now, there's no reason why we can't break a record on our channel. I think our record was like 120. I think it happened once last year. So appreciate the support. Okay, who is this? This is Quentin Johnston off the board. So maybe there's, look, people often ask, hey, what's the cutoff point? Like where do you feel like the cutoff point is for this class? Let me put Quentin here. And I think the cutoff point in Superflex Dynasty rookie drafts it's going to be dependent on where these quarterbacks get drafted. Are we in the same scenario as last year where the quarterbacks were hyped up and then we only saw one or two go in the first round? I don't think so. I think this is a better class. But, like we have Anthony Richardson up here. I'm sure Will Levis will go at some point, but if Anthony Richardson goes in the first round, he's probably a lock for a top 5 pick in a Superflex draft. That then extends these hits with Jackson Smith and Gibbs, Addison, Quentin. I think those are, like, if I can get one of those positional players and I miss out on the quarterbacks, I feel really good about like the 1-6 right now, the 1-7, the 1-8. I mean, if I can be at the 1-8 and know I get Quentin Johnston, then I would feel really, really good about being there. I think this is probably where the cutoff point is. I'm curious what happens next, but you could all argue that maybe Will Levis is ahead of that cutoff point in Superflex, but we'll see. We'll see what happens here next. Community is so blind to what he did with Wilson Olave. Yeah, with Jackson. He's better than both, and both of them are proven NFL receivers. I agree, very safe pick. I labeled him my can't-miss prospect this year. JSN, that is. All right, let's see who this is. We're waiting for the confirmation. I have the 105 and 106 in the Dynasty draft. It's non-Superflex, so it's hard to find mock drafts. Yeah. I'm assuming Bijan and Gibbs are gone. Who should I target? For me, if I'm at the 105, Bijan... I mean, any one of those wide receivers that we just talked about, JSN, Addison, Quentin Johnston's probably who I'm targeting. If they're off the board, then you might have to start looking at like a Zach Evans harder, because we don't do a lot of one quarterback formats. Okay, Will the Thrill Levis. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and put Will Levis here. That's what. By the way, I don't call him Will the Thrill. That's just what Cole called him just then. Will the Thrill. Let me know. What do you guys think about Will Levis? Polarizing prospect, no doubt. I struggle to get on the hype train with Will. I feel like the bust label is harsh to put on him already. So I'm not going to say he will bust. I will say when I look at all the players who are off the board right now, Anthony Richardson and Will Levis have the highest chance to be busts based off of where they're drafted in this Dynasty rookie draft. Now, they also have incredible upside. As I've said, prefer Anthony Richardson over Will Levis, but I don't know. It's I don't know what to think about Will Levis because I have so many times wanted to turn a leaf and be like, all right, I'm in. And then I watched his game. I think specifically the Vanderbilt game. I was like, dude, I want to see what everyone's seeing. Like, help me out here. I know one of the worst offensive lines in the in college football. Really young receivers. I understand, injury he dealt with. So got to give him a break a little bit there, but I'm not so certain he's going to be this top 5 NFL quarterback that everyone's projecting him to be. And keep in mind, I said the same thing with Anthony. I said that's the upside, but the floor is low for both of these guys. So it will be very, very interesting to see what happens with him. I think specifically, you could say the same with Will and Anthony. Specifically, if you're wondering, well, why the hesitancy? There's this unscoutable part of a quarterback. Do you have it up here? And it is really hard to figure out. I mean, you can see that with every draft every year. I mean, people either have it up here or they just don't. And for Will Levis, when I watch his film, I don't see someone who is reading a defense in real time. And his 2021 film, where he had a lot more yards like through the ground, it was very much, is Wandale open? No? All right, I'm pulling it and running it. I didn't see much processing around the field like you saw from a CJ Stroud this year, who's an incredible processor. I don't care what people say. He's an incredible processor. And you don't see the improvisation like Bryce Young has. Bryce Young's an incredible improviser, like your Kyler Murray type. Extend the play behind the line of scrimmage and try to get a broken wide receiver out of a route. Will Levis doesn't do that. He is athletic and he's mobile, but he's not extending behind the line of scrimmage. He is trying to rush if there's not a receiver open, which is fine, but it's two different styles. But I don't want to be labeled the Will Levis hater. I just can't ignore what I see. Again, I will say the quarterback position is easily the most difficult position to scout by far. It's not even close. So let's see what D Tarnt does here. Wow, I'm loving this stream. And we got 3 rounds today. I'm so curious what it's going to look like in round 3. Because you guys are probably going to pick players that I definitely don't have available. Okay, Young Ho Koo goes off the board. Great pick here at the 110 or the 110. What are we thinking here, D Tarnt? Who we got? Okay, Zach Evans. I like it. I have been a big Zach Evans defender. Someone who will be by his side if others won't. I like his game. There have been some reports that his workload has been not an accident this year, that he has been focusing a little bit on the draft. You also have to keep in mind he was dealing with a little bit of an injury as well throughout the season with his knee. But I'm a big Zach Evans guy. Loved watching his TCU film. Check this out. With TCU, he went over 100 rushing yards in 4 of his first 5 games, including a career-high 190 yards versus California in Week 2. This was 2021 film. But for me, what I wrote down in my scouting process based off of 2021 film, Zach Evans can be a game-changing NFL workhorse running back. Has a rare combination of skill sets that are hard to find, no clear weaknesses in his game. I can imagine him being drafted in the 2nd round this year and instantly being placed right inside my top 12 of Dynasty running backs. The combination of burst, speed, freaky plays, strength. It's all really special. Can get to his top speed quickly, can stop and start on a dime. Twitchy player, can get by defenders easily, very elusive. And if they take the wrong angle, he's going to be in the end zone. And then the last thing I said is something I noticed is that even when he is past the offensive line, so when you're in that second gear past the offensive line, you've already gone through the hole. He has great open field awareness and vision. So he just knows which space to attack. I am a big fan of him. My comp for him was around Melvin Gordon. I've heard other people say Miles Sanders, which I like that as well. I'm a big Zach Evans guy. I like Zach Evans. Zach Evans could instantly be drafted to the Eagles, and they don't have to re-sign Miles. That's what's crazy about this year's class, guys. And the free agency. Like, the running back position will be turned upside down. I can't say this enough, and maybe I say it too much, but I want you guys to be prepared. Your running backs, if you have 4 running backs on your Dynasty team right now, and you're like, yeah, all 4 of these guys are starters. You'll be looking at that group in like 4 months, and you'll be like, I might have a starter here. That's just the reality. We have 24 impact running backs who are going to be probably changing teams this year, either through the draft or through free agency. And I think Zach Evans, you got Miles Sanders on your roster right now. I love Miles Sanders, but do they need to pay him and have him come back? I think they could, but they also could look at a guy like Zach Evans, pop him straight into the same role, and he's going to give you similar results. So no running back is safe. Not any running back whatsoever. Let's see who gets drafted next. I'm trying to keep up. Sorry, guys. What's up, DynastyLand? What's up? What's your second tier drop off? We'll get to it. I'll tell you guys when we're there. Put some respect on Darnold's name. I think Kyler is too small to be a long term. Will Levis gives me Daniel Jones vibes. Sam Darnold is vanilla thick. Yeah, they would have to figure out the quarterback position for sure. I'm a big Quentin Johnson guy, Caleb. He's my wide receiver 2 in the class. 101 next year in redrafts. I don't think there is a consensus 101 next year in redraft. Probably like Justin Jefferson. Badake is not dead. He is actually on a plane right now, coming back from Brooklyn. He might be on the stream tomorrow. We'll have to see. All right, this is Josh Downs off the board. Downs is one of the few in my top 10 that I really struggle to have like a strong opinion either way on. I'll tell you guys what at least I saw from film. I'll pull up his scouting form here from me. Where you at, Joshy? One of those guys that I find it really hard to really have a solidified opinion on just yet. Okay, lots of good, and including his dominator rating, 35.6 career dominator rating. This guy has been a production monster, and he's done it from a relatively young age. I think he's a decent route runner. Speed is decent. I don't think it's elite at all. I don't think he's got elite speed, but I think it's good speed. And surprisingly very, very good as a contested catcher. He had a contested catch rate this year of 72.2%. That is good for 9th in the country. And for you guys who might be new to Dynasty or might be as well versed in college football, for someone to be like the wide receiver 9 in something, like let's say in targets in the NFL, and to be 9th in a category as a wide receiver in college football is incredibly different, because you have like thousands of eligible receivers in that category. Josh Downs was 9th in college football at 72.2% catch rate when you consider a minimum target share of 55. So he definitely can produce. I do have a lot of question marks, specifically his frame. I don't see how he's going to be playing on the outside. He's 5'10", 175 pounds. There are some examples of players being successful outside at that size, but there's not many. And most times that means the player is going to be limited to a slot role. And I've heard people around the Dynasty sphere be bragging about his yards after the catch. I don't know, man. I mean, I think if he's got blockers in an open field, his speed will take him there. But I don't think he's the type of player that's going to extend plays after the catch off of his athleticism alone, and specifically in the transition of the play. You catch a ball, and then after, that's when you go from being a receiver to a runner. That's the transition. I don't think his transition is where it needs to be. It's certainly not where Quentin Johnston is, where Jackson Smith is, where they can instantly transition to being that open field runner. And as far as a route runner, I feel like his routes were relatively lazy. There are at times where he does show those quick, decisive cuts and moves that you want to see from a route runner, but there's a lot of rounded off routes. And when he's not involved in the play, felt a little bit lackadaisical. There's a lot of small gadget guys like him in the draft, and I think the thing I will say about him and give him credit for, if any of them, everyone, if it's a small player and they're not that big, everyone's comp is Tyler Lockett for some reason. Like, it just seems to be that way. He would be the only player in this year's draft that I would give that comp to, that I would say that upside is actually realistic to place on him. My comp for him, ceiling is Lockett, floor is more like Russell Gage. So we'll see what happens with him. I will say the draft capital at minimum was really intriguing for Josh Downs. Did he end up with the Browns? Yeah, so he ended up with the Browns. And you have to ask yourself, what does this wide receiver core look like? Because we have Donovan Peoples-Jones, former 5-star recruit, who had 12 targets in his second game with Watson, and he looked good doing it. So you got Amari, who is clearly your Alpha X. Donovan Peoples-Jones seems to be the 2. And then Downs is going to be fighting with Bell as that 3. You put Downs probably in the slot. You make DPJ your Z or your Y. I'm not sure. It'll be interesting. But anyway, I will say the production numbers are there. Analytics are very good on him. But also some pretty clear weaknesses. So I would say this, honestly, I would say this is a cutoff point right at Will Levis. And we'll see where the next cutoff point is. We'll see. Guys, thanks so much for the love on the stream today. Appreciate it. Everybody who's watching. Okay. So let's see who this is. Here at the 112. Who's going to be the 12? To me, I have a feeling the 12 is a really bad spot to be in this year, guys. If you win your championship and you got the 112, there's no George Pickens at the back half of this draft. It's tough. Okay, this is Sean Tucker. Not to say that Sean Tucker isn't a good pick at all. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, it is not the same level of upside at the back end of this draft. So there goes Sean Tucker off the board. So he ends up getting in the first round here. In this mock draft that we're using, he goes to the Bengals in the 3rd round. So I guess he takes the Pirine role. But Mixon is there for quite a while, right? It's not very clear when he would get opportunity. Let me double check Joe Mixon's contract. They might have an out that they could look at if they want to build around the team. So Joe Mixon is on the books, and there is no out until 2025 free agency. So unless you think that this is a scenario in which, you know, Sean Tucker can beat out Joe Mixon, that's a tough road to relevancy. We'll see. I like Tucker's game. Very interesting prospect out of Syracuse. And no, I don't care that there's not been many successful running backs out of Syracuse. I think that whole theory is so ridiculous. But I like his game. But there's no clear answer here. So I understand the concern. All right, recapping the first round. Bijan Robinson, he goes to the Bucks. Anthony Richardson goes to the Giants. C.J. Stroud goes to the Seahawks. Bryce Young is a Texan. Jackson Smith-Njigba is a Charger. Wow, what a landing spot. That would be beautiful. Jahmyr Gibbs is a Bill. Addison is a Packer. Johnston is a Panther. Levis is a Colt, right? Yeah. Zach Evans is a Cardinal. Josh Downs is a Brown. And Sean Tucker is a Bengal. I really think that 12 spot is a pretty difficult spot to be in if we're honest. Hey, shout out to the 180 people watching the stream. I have been trying to be more active on Twitter. I understand it's a big part of the Dynasty space. I try to avoid the toxicity because I feel like there's a lot of that out there. But if you want to hear, me give my thoughts on buy lows at certain points in Dynasty football, on my rankings for future classes or prospects that I'll highlight, or just random things that are kind of happening in the space of fantasy, then consider giving me a follow. That would mean a lot. I've seen a lot of people follow, had a lot of cool conversations of recently over on Twitter, have appreciated the love. So if you can do me a favor, drop me a follow. If you're a big Twitter person, that would mean a lot. I'm trying to get more involved on Twitter. Okay, so let's see what happens here in the second round. I will say the second round as a whole, like the 2-1 to the 2-6, it's a pretty good spot to get a running back. There's a lot of running backs here I like. Ooh, G Money, you doing that? There's no way. You guys are trolling me now. Y'all are trolling me now. I mean, I wanted to do it, man. I wanted to draft him in the second. I genuinely don't think there will be... You guys let me know if I'm wrong, because there's so many different communities out there, and they're all great. I don't think there's a single Dynasty community where you're going to see Xavier Hutchinson go this early just yet. I would be surprised. I think most people would have him in their third round. Now, I'm not saying I have him there because I'm a huge Xavier Hutchinson guy. Was extremely blown away with his film. And honestly, I believe that if Hutchinson was a couple years younger... Hey, thank you for the sub. If Hutchinson was a couple years younger and he was a Bama wide receiver or an Ohio State wide receiver, he would probably be a top 20 pick in the NFL draft. I mean, this guy's got the works as a prospect. 6'3", 205 pounds. Now, why is he declaring so late? He's 22 years old. We don't like that. But he's a redshirt senior. A little bit of background. This is a former JUCO player. The type of player that you really, really want to succeed. From Jacksonville, Florida, 3-star recruit, ended up going to JUCO and then went to Iowa State. So that's why he's this late bloomer. There's certain players on film that you watch and you just fall in love with that player. And for me, that was Xavier Hutchinson. And honestly, I'm scared with how high I have him in my rankings because I don't think many other people would feel that way. But for me, let's talk about the good route running. He has that clean, quick cuts at the break point that you want to see from a route runner. Quick first step off the line of scrimmage. He faced some press coverage because he was just such a heavily targeted player. Has a special ability, which not everyone does. Not everyone has this sort of manipulation on a defense to kind of lull the defense, the DB to sleep and then kind of burst into that second half of his route. Great hesitation. This guy can gain separation in a lot of different ways. Great hands. Incredible body control. At the catch point, incredible focus. I mean, I don't remember what his quarterback's name was, but there were many times where he was forced to make these incredible catches, these circus catches, where he's maintaining his possession, he's falling onto the ground, great body control, over the shoulder, and other things as well that I noticed. When there's something to be said about a receiver who is hands catching and they're about to take the hardest hit on the ground. They've gone all out for a catch. I know I'm probably about to get a concussion. I'm grabbing it with my hands and my hands smack the ground. I saw that type of play from him 3 times on film. He didn't drop it a single time. Most people are going to be dropping that ball. Strong hands, great concentration, pretty good speed as far as game speed goes. We'll have to see how he tests at the combine. To me, this is one of those players where right now I would say he's a 3rd or 4th round pick in a lot of people's rookie drafts. I fully anticipate him skyrocketing up draft boards, both in the NFL draft and in rookie drafts. I believe he has the potential to be one of those mid-second round picks where you saw Pickens go last year, where you saw like Tyquan, Sky Moore. I genuinely think that he has that sort of upside and that potential rise in his game, at least if GMs are seeing what I'm seeing on film. But obviously, he's automatically at a disadvantage because he will be older than a lot of other players, specifically wide receivers coming out, former JUCO player. Scouts will have questions like, okay, well, why did he have to go to JUCO first? But this guy is a hard worker and someone you want to root for. I really hope that the NFL sees what I see in Xavier Hutchinson. I want to be able to look back and be like, hell yeah, I saw it. But there's a reality that he could be a 4th round pick, 5th round pick, and we're like, there's no way you can draft him in the 2nd. Love his skill set. Curious what the NFL thinks about him. Very, very curious. But I'm obsessed with him and was extremely pleasantly surprised by his film. And G Money, I'm frustrated you took that away from me. I wanted to draft him. So he's off the board. And let's see what happens next. A lot of options here. A lot of options. I was anticipating taking him at the 2-6. I didn't think anybody would take him before me, but here we are. By the way, if you guys are wanting to know projected draft capital, I would say the most reliable source is going to be NFL mock draft database. While we're waiting on the next pick, NFL mock draft database is essentially a website that takes all of the certified analysts or people who do mock drafts or part of the draft community. They compile mock drafts. They compile ADP, projected draft capital, those kind of things. They have a consensus big board as well, and they will actually show you graphed information on these players. So, oh, nice. I like to see this rise. So they can kind of see this. These are where the mock drafts would be over time. Like if you look at a guy like Addison, it's probably a pretty steady flow. Okay, yeah. So he took a little bit of a dip. Jackson Smith probably took a dip as well, which is so dumb. But it's real. It happens. So that's a good resource for you guys if you want to know. All right, let's see what Rude's going to do here. I'm not sure that Rude is active. So if he's not active, then why don't we make a decision together as a chat who this should be? So comment down below. I want the most commented player will be the next player picked. So comment in the chat. Let me know who you think it should be. Again, the most commented player will be the selection here, and then we'll talk about him. Let's go, defense. Let's go. No comments yet, so maybe I'm going to step in and make an executive decision here. Let's see. Who do we have here? Okay, we got a couple comments. Charbonnet, Corum, Mayer, Hyatt. So we have 4 different players. We have 5 different players now. Okay, a couple Mayers. Okay, that's enough for me. We'll do Michael Mayer here. The unquestioned, in my opinion, tight end 1 in this class. I wouldn't say he has the highest upside, but I would say he is probably the unquestioned tight end 1 in this year's class. I gotta mute or get rid of myself to find him. Really well-rounded player. With tight ends, draft capital is definitely important as well. And in this scenario, I'm pretty certain that Mayer got first-round draft capital, which I think it's possible. I'm not going to sit here and say that it would be a mistake for a team to do that, but I'm just not sure that he's an elite athlete. So I think taking him this early, which they have him mocked to the Lions, that's a great landing spot, by the way, kind of replacing the TJ Hawkinson role. But taking a tight end like Mayer this early, and he's not this athletically freaky type player. He's a really good really good receiver, probably their best weapon at Notre Dame. But I don't know, man. I'm not sure that that's the best use of a top 15 pick, but we are doing this mock draft based off of landing spots. These are the landing spots. It's Michael Mayer to the Lions, and he is the pick here. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one, and we will see if Drew is active. I hope Drew is active, but hard to say. We'll find out. If not, we'll be making another pick. Yes, Drew. I like it. Clutch. Okay, who we got here, Drew? Let's see the pick. This is Jalin Hyatt. Oh boy, do I have some very specific opinions on young Jalin Hyatt. And if you're a Hyatt stan, you probably won't enjoy what I have to say. But I personally think Hyatt is the most overrated receiver in this class. And I will explain why. Honestly, the fact that he won the Blitnikoff Award, I don't want to take anything away from him, but we really didn't give that award to Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, really? Did the people who voted on the Blitnikoff watch their games at all? Did they watch how these two different receivers operate? If you're looking at stats alone, then I get it, but Jalin Hyatt, again, like I said, I have some very specific opinions. He is actually my wide receiver 9 in this year's class. So I am much lower on him. Now, I've heard crazy things like Mel Kiper has him as his wide receiver 2 in the class. Who the hell is Mel Kiper anyway? But look, let me tell you the good, because I think Jalin Hyatt's a very simple player. He wins with speed, and he's got enough speed for sure. Probably a 4.3 guy. I would say like a 4.35 in that area, if not more. So his speed is great. He can win over the top. And then because of that speed, he also typically has a lot of cushion underneath as well from the DB. However, there's a lot of things I don't like. Doesn't possess any elite or even above average traits as a route runner. Very simplified route tree. Not very good after the catch. A pretty stiff player. Not elusive. Not going to be the type of guy to break a couple tackles, you know, after a catch on a screen pass. In short, it feels like a very limited NFL wide receiver for me. Deep threat for sure, but there's no athleticism outside of his raw speed that I would say could turn him into a superstar wide receiver. My ceiling for him is, think of Will Fuller with Deshaun Watson. That's like the ceiling I see for Jalin Hyatt. My floor, MVS. We're looking at like an MVS. Thank you for the sub, Jesse. Or Jazzy. We're looking at the floor of like an MVS of Philip Dorsett. Is that too harsh? I don't know, maybe. But here's what I will say. When you put Hyatt's film on, you don't even get a chance to really see what he can be as a route runner, because there's not a lot of press coverage, a lot of free releases, specifically in like this 2-stack formation they had, which was, I saw a lot in college football this year. But the first 7 touchdowns I watched of Jalin Hyatt's film were go routes where he beat someone with his speed in zone, or they were broken plays where he just used his elite speed. Again, would you draft Tyquan Thornton again in the 2nd round? I know his career is still yet to be unfolded. Maybe that's too harsh, but I have seen mock drafts where people are putting Hyatt in the 1st round. That is bonkers to me. I do not understand how a NFL scout could watch Jalin Hyatt's weaknesses and say he's a 1st-round talent. And maybe he bumps up in this class because of how weak the depth is. I'm not saying it's a weak class, but the depth specifically. Maybe he gets a bump up, but I think people, if he's a 1st-round draft pick in the NFL, I feel like a 90% assurance that team will regret that draft pick. Very limited player in my opinion, and I think that Marvin Harrison Jr. was done dirty. He should have won the award in my opinion. All right, next pick. Let's see what happens. Harrison's better. Do I trade Lamar as we wait for this one? Do I trade Lamar for T-Law, Breece Hall, Christian Watson in a late 1st? yes, I would take the Trevor Lawrence side easily. Not that I'm anti-Lamar, but definitely would. This 2023 class is average. Yeah, Harrison Jr. is definitely the best wide receiver in football. No questions. I don't disagree with you. I will say that this class, there are a lot of gems in this class. People were saying the same thing about the 2022 class. I don't think this is as deep as that class, but there are some real good talents in this class. Don't overlook it. Yes, I agree. That's actually a good point. Hyatt will be a better wide receiver in real life than in fantasy football. I actually completely agree with that. That's a very good point. As far as what he can offer a team. Okay, so dynamic night. We have Devin Akane off the board. If you know the channel, then you probably know what I'm going to say, but this is too early for me. I know there are people out there in the industry who are the biggest Devin Akane fans. It's Akane, right? A chain? Is it a chain like A Train? I'm trying to remember it from like the boys Amazon TV show. Like we call him Devin A Train, so I'll just keep calling him Devin A Train because I know I'm going to pronounce it wrong. But to me, this is another very limited player, I think, in the NFL. Devin Akane, A Train. I'm not going to argue if you tell me he's the fastest player in college football, because I do think he is probably the fastest player in college football right now. Like legit could be an Olympic type runner. That's the type of speed that he has. But the frame is just, there is not a scenario in the NFL when you're going to face those big bodies that Devin Akane is getting 15 carries a game. That's just not going to happen for him. What is he? He's 5'9", 185. I wouldn't be surprised if his official measurements are more around like 5'8", 178 or somewhere around there. And you are not going to have a lot of success in between the tackles at that size. I don't often rule players out because of their size, but Akane at best is like a really good third down satellite gadget type player. Could have like top 24 years, like remember James White did with Tom Brady. But again, it's so situational. You really want a running back that he could be out there in a lot of different scenarios. He's got the body to handle multiple touches per game through the line, is a goal line option as well. And I feel like Akane is very limited as a player. A lot of people compare him to Jamal Charles as if they're even remotely the same player. They're not, in my opinion at least. Akane is way smaller than Charles was. Charles at least hit 200 pounds if I'm not mistaken. So look, I think he ideally in the NFL is a third down running back, and he can be an elite third down running back. Like I said, your James Whites, your McKissick's a couple years ago where he was like a top 15 guy in fantasy because of the receptions he's got. However, he is very limited for fantasy purposes. So yeah, I struggle to see a scenario in which he like is an RB1 on the team or gets like 15 carries a game. He might not ever get 15 carries in his career. Genuinely. Like that's a possibility with his size. How do you give him 15 carries with his size? So yeah, I think this is too early for me. He's actually one of those players who I might miss out on, and I will 100% hold my hands up and say I'm wrong if I am, but I don't think I'll have any Devin this year. I don't think I will draft him. I don't think he'll be on my teams at all. I don't think it matters. If it's a third round, like mid-third round, okay, maybe. But there are a lot of other running backs that I like a lot better than, and I think their usage in the NFL makes a lot more sense to me. I've heard A-Chain. Yeah, I think it is A-Chain, isn't it? Jackson Smith over Harrison. No, I would still take Harrison. But I do love JSN. I think he's a can't miss prospect, no doubt. Okay, let's see who this is from Casey. Tell us who you got, Casey. We all know who has to go here. Okay. Who's it going to be? Are you going to break my heart? Don't break my heart. My achy, breaky heart. Who's it going to be, Casey? Who are you drafting? Chase Brown. Chase Brown definitely can handle a workload for sure. Zach Charbonnet. Okay. Yeah, I definitely was heavily considering Zach Charbonnet. I mean, talk about the complete opposite of A-Chain. Genuinely, like, the complete opposite. As players, as builds. I need to put him in place, so let me grab him. Sorry, guys. Zach Charbonnet unfortunately stayed an extra year. I really wanted him to come out in last year's class. When we graded last year's class and we still thought that he was going to declare, he was my RB3 in that class. Yes, ahead of Dameon Pierce. I know there's probably Dameon Pierce stands out there that are still going to fight me. Hey, thanks for the sub. But yes, ahead of Dameon Pierce. Zach Charbonnet can handle a full workload easily. 6'1", 220 pounds. Combination of size, strength, vision, contact balance, and this rare desire to keep pushing for more yards. It's like if Philip Lindsay had everything that you wanted in a first and second down running back. You know, like with his desire, add his desire on runs like in his in his rookie year, like that part of his career, and then you add everything else with Zach Charbonnet. That's what you're getting. I think he could easily be a first and second down running back in the NFL. Could handle 15 to 20 carries a game instantly. Very good vision as well. I think that's underrated part of his game. Has the patience to really identify the best running lane given to him by his offensive line. So I think, again, this is one of those players in this draft who could instantly step up and replace a running back on your team who is currently getting 15 carries a game in an offense. So I like Zach Charbonnet, obviously coming out at an older age, and I think that might be something that impacts his draft capital. So we'll have to stay tuned. Typically, NFL teams, they want to get you young, use you and abuse you. That sounds weird, but that's just the truth. All right, I am on the board here. I'll give myself 2 minutes here, and let me review my rankings right now. He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. Okay. I think I know who I'm going to take here. Oh, can I do it? Yeah, there's no way he gets to the third round. Okay. We are going to draft Rashee Rice, wide receiver out of SMU. This will be most people's sleeper wide receiver this year. And I think for good reason. By the way, why did he go to SMU? Well, he had offers elsewhere. He actually chose to go to SMU. He liked their program. And to be fair, SMU has produced some pretty good NFL wide receivers. But let's talk a little about Rashee Rice. Great size. 6'3", 206 pounds. I mean, that's a really good size for an X. Or really, you can put him anywhere on the field. 22 years old, I think. And the reason I say I think is because I have tried my absolute best to solidify and find an answer on his age. If you look on Google, one site will tell you he's 24 years old. Another site will tell you that he's 22. Another will say 23. I actually tweeted at him because I was just like, hey, could you tell me your age? I'm just curious. And he didn't reply. Like, why would he? He's getting ready for the draft. But I don't know what his age is. I think it's 22. So that's what we're going to rock with right now. But as far as a prospect, let's talk about the good. I think there's 4 main things that I really like about him. Size, which we talked about. Versatility, yak, and contested catches. Okay. Versatility, played over 90% in the slot as a junior where he was dominant and he broke out. Then this year as a senior, he plays 82.5% out wide.
I mean, this is a wide receiver who has proven, I know at SMU, not the greatest competition, but he has proven that he can be utilized in many different areas all over the field. Displays really good body control as well as ball tracking skills. And the thing that concerns me mostly, I would say, again, the competition that he faced, but the drop rate was pretty high. He does have a drop issue. In fact, it was a 9.4% drop rate, which you kind of want to stay around that 5-6%. 9% is quite high. Could definitely expand his route tree, but he is a very physical player. And my comps for him, I would say ceiling, which I don't think it's unattainable, but certainly there's a lot of growth to do as a route runner still if he wants to reach this. But in the open field, I see a lot of Chris Godwin traits, and I think that's a possibility for him. Now, draft capital is going to be important with a receiver like Rashee Rice, but I will say the good news is that the NFL right now, at least from what we've seen from projected draft capital, is also in on Rashee Rice. So right now, they have him projected to be a second-round pick, early second-round pick as well. So that's good. That would be really helpful if the NFL could confirm what we believe about him. That could allow us to kind of be all in on the player, but is going to be declaring later than some of these other wide receivers. So obviously that's a concern, but I do like his skill sets for sure. All right, let's see what happens next. Daniel is up on the clock. Came in at the Hyatt pick. Can you go over the Anthony Richardson pick? Yeah, essentially, I said it's not all that surprising because in this mock draft, he went to the Giants, and I think that's a great organization for Anthony Richardson to go to. Competent coaching staff, have a proven record of building a project into a superstar. So with his abilities and what he can offer you on the ground, I think it makes sense. What do you think about Downs? We talked about it a little bit previously. I don't want to kind of repeat too much information. Jared, the other host, is on a plane, and he will be back soon. He's been visiting his family on holiday. Okay, we're going Tank Bigsby here at the 2-7. I've been pretty openly anti Tank Bigsby. There's just not a lot of qualities that I look at and think that he's elite. And in fact, I don't really, this might be harsh, but I don't really think he's necessarily above average in many areas as well. He's a big, strong frame, can handle about 10-15 carries a game, but the speed is really bad, and so is the explosiveness, at least from what I saw based off of 2021 film. I still need to review more 2022 film, but can get to that top speed quick, but is not a very very good top speed. Yeah, not a player that I think has as much explosiveness as I would want. It kind of reminds me of like Zamir White. A lot of people last year were like, dude, Zamir White is going to be an absolute stud. He's going to take over Josh Jacobs. I was like, are we sure? Are we watching the same guy? I mean, for me, I just don't know that he has the ability to become a RB1 on a team as in the NFL. I think he can be a good complementary piece, but I'm not sure he has any traits that stand out to me that would suggest he can be, like an RB1 for an NFL team. But I know he was a huge hype name coming out of college. All right, let's see who this is. All right, this is Blake Corum. I get a lot of questions about Blake Corum, and it makes sense because like he's a player that's not a lot of people have solidified feelings on. I've heard comps to like Ray Rice, and I understand the comps. I don't know with Blake Corum really where to stand on at this point. I don't even think he's the best running back on his own team. I will put that as Donovan Edwards. I think Donovan Edwards is about to explode next year. Really love his game. But shorter frame, but definitely a thick guy. So where Devin Akane is like that shorter build, but has like no body mass, I would say the opposite for Blake Corum. Yes, he's short, but he's got that thick Ray Rice type build. I mean, really, yeah, that is the comp that you would look for physically. It would be Ray Rice. I've heard, I'm not saying this is what I believe, I've heard a lot of people say that his success should go more to the offensive line because it's one of the best offensive lines in the country. Again, just what I have heard. I'm not saying it's what I believe. I need to review the running back film on running backs in 2022 a little bit more in depth. But yeah, draft capital, again, with him will be super important because he's one of those guys. I could see him being a 3rd round pick. Definitely won't be higher than that. Or he could fall to like the 5th round if people are concerned about the frame overall. So I don't think he got drafted in this exercise. I could be wrong. Let me see. No, he didn't get drafted. Where is he currently as far as like consensus mock drafts? He's currently pretty high. They have him projected to be a 2nd overall pick. I mean, that would shock me. 2nd overall, 2nd round pick, my bad. That would shock me if he got up that high. He more feels like at best a 3rd round pick, but I don't know, man. We'll see. I've been wrong on those things before. All right. Are there even enough players to do 3 rounds? We'll see. We'll see. All right, who is it here? Who we got? Bobby Boucher. All right, this is Kendre Miller. I like me some Kendre Miller. As far as, I'm not going to say he's like the same talent, but as far as play style, eerily similar to like a Javonte Williams type of play style. Player you really want to root for, tough to tackle. He's going to break a lot of tackles in the NFL, I think. A complete running back. Good lateral quickness, short area explosiveness. Definitely doesn't have home run speed, but I'm more concerned with that short area explosiveness for a running back like him rather than the long run speed. So I think he's a really complete running back. I actually like him a little bit more than Corum personally, but that's still up for grabs. But I do like Blake and Kendre. I prefer those guys over both Devin Akane and Bigsby personally. This is going to get interesting. We haven't done 3 rounds on the stream yet. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen here. What are we going to do? Okay, let me know who it is, D-Tarnt. We'll see who it is. Where would you take Sam Laporta? Okay, so this is Raheem Jarrett. Laporta, I don't know enough about him, to be honest with you, man. I have not scouted him enough to really give you insight on him. I mean, I could pretend to know him and make something up, but I don't want to do that. I don't know Laporta enough. And mostly because of how thin this class seems to be at tight end. I haven't focused on it just yet. Okay, so Raheem Jarrett goes off the board. He is a really interesting player. Little backstory on Raheem, or it's actually Rakim, if I'm not mistaken. Little backstory on him. From Maryland area, the Washington, D.C. area, he, in his high school recruiting class, was actually ranked as the 2nd wide receiver in the nation. Very highly sought after recruit. Originally committed to LSU, but then backed out and committed to Maryland, where he's playing now. Wanted to stay home, hometown guy. Had comps to Deebo Samuel, and you can see shades of it, but there's a lot of work in his game that needs to happen for him to reach that sort of upside. he actually has one of the worst drop rates in the NFL, and you can see that on film. Now, granted, Talia Tagovailoa, from the film I watched of Rakim, man, there's a lot of bad throws. He was forced to make a lot of difficult receptions. But his drop rate, let me see if I can find it for you guys. Okay, his drop rate was 16.7%. You remember how I was talking about Rashee Rice, how he had a high drop rate around 9%? We're talking about 16.7%. You want to be around that 5-6% range typically. For 16.7% drop rate for Rakim was the 4th highest in college football amongst wide receivers who saw a minimum of 55 targets. So drops are not acceptable in the NFL. It doesn't matter how talented you are. You will be quickly benched. Okay, so who Spinola got here? Spinola's got Parker Washington. I like Parker Washington. He's such a weird prospect. I like him, but he is such a weird prospect. The dude has the frame of a running back. Parker Washington is 5'10", I think 215 pounds. Definitely won't be able to play outside, but could play in the slot. Incredible hands. Very, very good hands for Parker Washington. I'm curious to see what the NFL thinks about him. If you want to see like the ceiling of what Parker Washington could be, I would suggest to watch the Ohio State game this year because he went absolutely nuclear. But he'll be a big body slot receiver in the NFL, I anticipate. Pretty good as a route runner. Early breakout age of 18 years old. My comps for him, what comps do you guys have for Parker Washington genuinely? Does anyone else have a comp for him? Because he's 5'10", 215, and he plays the slot. What comp is there out there for him? I will say, like Sterling Shepard, a bigger Sterling Shepard. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, Team 12 is Gonzo, so we need a pick here. And just to speed things up, I'm going to go ahead and choose the next wide receiver on my rankings, which is Zay Flowers. So we're going to make this Zay Flowers. Another relatively undersized as far as like weight goes receiver out of Boston College. I like Zay Flowers. He's my wide receiver 6, 7. Let me double check. He's my wide receiver 7 in this class. And I think to be honest, I think he should have gone earlier than that. If I didn't take Rashee Rice, I definitely would have considered Zay Flowers around the 2.6. 5'10", 172 pounds. Really good dominator rating of about 36.1%. Breakout age of 20, which is not incredible, but he's shown to put up big numbers. Really good speed. Constantly looks for ways. BC was constantly looking for ways to get him open in space where he could use his acceleration and his speed. And I would say after the catch, this is a very specific note for Zay, but after the catch, something I noticed about him is his IQ. He always seems to know how to use a defender's momentum against them, which in return allows him to find the open space. So if he's at the catch point and let's say it's a screen and he feels the defender coming in on his left, he'll know to kind of like reverse around to the right and get into the open field. He's a very high IQ player in the open field. Pretty versatile. He played 32% in the slot this year and 66% out wide. So we'll see where he lands. I think he'll land with the Patriots here. So a player I like, but landing spot and draft capital would be important, but I think he'll probably be limited to a slot role, I imagine. All right, let's see what G Money does here. And let's just recap quickly. This is going to get weird now. This is going to get really weird. We haven't done a third round yet, but here we are attempting to do it. Okay, so we already recapped the first, but in the second round, Xavier Hutchinson. I'm not going to go on my spiel again, but I would suggest to rewatch that or watch my wide receiver rankings video because I'm obsessed with Xavier Hutchinson. He goes to the Ravens in the mock draft, and he's the 201. Mayer is a first-round pick in the mock draft to the Lions. Hyatt is a... Where did Hyatt go? Sorry, y'all. I don't remember where Hyatt went. I need to remember. He went to the Falcons. Oh my gosh, that would be so weird. He went to the Falcons. Akane went to the Dolphins. Charbonnet didn't get drafted. Rashee Rice was a Jag. Tank Bigsby didn't get drafted. Neither did Blake. Neither did Kendre Miller or Raheem or Parker. Zay went to the Patriots. So here we are. We're about to start the third round. Things could get weird. I can't promise I have the graphic for the players that some of these guys are going to name. So we'll see. If I don't have the name, I don't have the name, but we'll talk about the player. I might not even know some of the players that we'll hear here. So we'll have to wait and see how this goes. But before we get into the third round, again, if you could do me a massive favor and drop a like on the stream.
You like that? You like
I would appreciate it. Easiest, most simple way to support the content, to support our work. We absolutely hit a record today. There's no way we've ever had 143 likes on a live stream. So thank you so much. If we can get 150, that would be incredible. I genuinely don't think I've ever seen that number. So thank you so much, guys, for the support. If you like Dynasty, definitely consider subscribing. Dropping a like is a simple way to help. And then lastly, if you are someone who is big on the Twitterverse, I would really appreciate it if you could drop me a follow. If you like Dynasty content, fantasy football takes, hearing about prospects and future drafts, guys to keep your eye on, sleepers, buy lows in Dynasty, that kind of thing, consider dropping me a follow. That would be much appreciated. Okay, let's get to the third round and let's see how weird it gets, because it's going to get weird. I don't want to say this name yet because I'm curious to see how long it will take. We'll see. Yes, Richardson too. I know, high upside, very low floor. You like Zay, that's good. Parker plays like if Nico was small. Yeah, that's true. Sounds like a taller Tutu Atwell, yeah. Marvin Mims hasn't gone yet. Raheem went to the Giants, my bad, okay. Badake is still a part of this, guys. I feel like I should have a little text at the bottom of the screen somewhere to let people know, because it gets asked pretty often. He was on holiday vacation in New York visiting his family, and he was there for about 3 weeks. He's now on a plane back, so he'll be back very soon. All right, Marvin Mims goes off the board. Pretty simplified player. You know, certainly doesn't have the kind of Tyler Lockett upside that people want to project onto him, because he hasn't ever put up that kind of production out of college. In fact, he has struggled to put up big numbers out of college. And you do have to give him the benefit of the doubt with how much of like a... Thank you for the sub, Frank. You do have to give him the benefit of the doubt, because OU was in absolute dismay, or what's the word? They were in a tough spot this offseason, losing Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley. Marvin Mims, 5'11", 184 pounds, early breakout age, which you like. Good ball skills, very impressive ball skills. Made some very impressive catches and decent speed. I wouldn't say it's elite, but not a very good route runner. If it's not a fade or a go, it seems to be pretty rounded off. Doesn't have those decisive cuts or the body fakes, the head fakes. Doesn't really manipulate defenders all that well. Route tree is pretty simplified. And the problem that I have when people compare Marvin Mims to Tyler Lockett is this. Tyler Lockett had huge production out of K-State. Marvin Mims averaged a measly 4.3 receptions per game this year. And last year in 2021, he averaged 2.5 receptions a game. There's not a lot of PPR upside there. How do you project him to be some sort of PPR guy in the NFL when he wasn't even able to do it as the number one on his team? So we'll see. Probably a slot receiver. Definitely not going to play outside with his lack of route running prowess, but we'll see. In the third round, it's tough. I get it. We might do a bit of a quick fire here. Was Rude the guy that was auto-drafted last time? I think he was. Okay, in case he gets auto-drafted, why don't we pop some names in the chat that you guys would like to see drafted here? I mean, we're getting close to probably people running out of names. I would say sooner rather than later. There's definitely a very obvious name on the board. I would say still out there. I think this is going to be an auto. Hey. Okay, Andrew. Sean Tucker's already gone. I think this is going to be an auto. So why don't we go ahead and auto pick this? Because I don't think Root is there. And I think Hendon Hooker probably should have gone much earlier than this. Much earlier. I would say more around like... I would say like around the 2.8 to the 2.10 is where I think he probably should have gone. Obviously, older player is now going to have a tough road to recovery. But I still think he should have been in consideration to have been drafted. Thank you for the sub. Okay, so that's going to be a Hendon Hooker. I'll place him. And I believe he got drafted to the Raiders in this scenario, if I'm not mistaken. Which I actually think that's a pretty decent landing spot, considering the troubles with Derek Carr. Yeah, the Raiders in the second round. I mean, that's great draft capital for him. I don't think he's going to get any higher than that this year after his, concerns with his age and his injury. Okay. This is going to get weird.
What the?
Who you got for me, Drew? I know it's going to be someone I don't know. Who you got for me, Drew? Let me know a name. Oh, he actually went to the Saints. That's a good name, actually. That's a good name. Switch it up. Cam Ward. Okay. And I have Cam Ward graphic. You thought you were going to catch me? Someone will catch me. But I got Cam Ward. I know there's a group of Cam Ward stands out there. Am I one of them? I don't think so, guys. I don't see him being a starting quarterback. But I know there are stands out there for Cam Ward. Hey. Okay. Okay.
What
the gap, brother. All right, let's see who it is. Okay, we got Chase Brown off the board. I do like Chase Brown's game as well. I feel like he's just, again, certainly not anywhere near elite in any area, but he is just a good, well-rounded running back out of Illinois. Cool story. He gets to play with his brother. His brother is one of the defenders. I think he's a safety for Illinois. Really cool story that I watched from him. But just a really good, well-rounded running back. Never will be a superstar, but, your Tyler Algiers of last year, your Brian Robinsons of last year, like if the draft capital is there, he could produce. He could put up some numbers for sure. All right. What you going to do, Casey? What you going to do, brother man? This is where things get really weird. Oh. 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 Okay, let's see. I don't want you to take this player. I have one in mind, and I'm right after you. Don't do it. Best wide receiver on the best offense in the ACC, Casey says. Okay. Keeping us guessing. A.T. Perry. Okay. I watched A.T. Perry. I cannot get on board, but I don't mind the pick here this late into the draft. If you guys want to know about A.T. Perry, make sure you draft a kicker so we can get on with the draft. But yeah, just a quick little notes on A.T. Perry. Let me find my scouting report on him. No question has the huge size of like that ideal X, right? He is 6'5", 205 pounds, but he will be like a late declare for the draft. I believe he is 23 years old already, and he didn't break out until the age of 22. So very late breakout age. If you don't know what a breakout age, it's the age when the player is first able to demand a 20% dominator rating. So he wasn't able to do that until the age of 22. Late breakout age. He's currently 23. Not a very good route runner at all. It was like watching molasses. No quick cuts. His cutback on his routes, on his comeback routes, might be the slowest comeback routes I have scouted in a long time, in the last 3 years probably. Not twitchy, no elusiveness, no burst, huge body, and he can catch deep balls. But he was actually one of my lower rated players. Very disappointed in his film. Definitely not going to give you anything after the catch. I personally think A.T. Perry is probably like a wide receiver 4 on an NFL team. He might be even like a practice squad guy. The only way he's actually going to be relevant is if a team just has a specific use for him in the red zone. So I'm not an A.T. Perry guy, but I know other people are. I really was bored watching the film. Okay, I'm up. Oh, Matt Bryant was a legend, man. At the age of 46? Sure, he might be older, but oh my God, we have the GOAT on the board? Y'all really let Adam Vinatieri get to me this late? Wow. All right, I'm going to take Adam Vinatieri here. But, no, my real pick, which I already had in mind, is Cedric Tillman. I am not a Cedric Tillman stan by any means, but I certainly enjoyed his film more than I enjoyed, let's say, A.T. Perry, as well as like Raheem Jarrett. Tillman has very clear strengths and very clear weaknesses. He was actually the guy who sparked this run by Tennessee earlier in the year. It wasn't Jalen Hyatt. Jalen Hyatt was a no-name to start. But Tillman was kind of the guy in that offense until he got that injury. 6'3", 215. That big X body might push him up in the draft. I'm not sure. He is a late declare, so he's 22 years old. Didn't break out until the age of 20, so we don't like to see that either. Primarily played out wide, 88.6% out wide. A little bit in the slot. Fun story about him. He actually played ball at Bishop Gorman High School. Does anyone else out there watch QB1 series on Netflix? His quarterback in high school was Tate Martell, which is so funny to think about now. His only offer out of high school was Tennessee. He had a connection with a coach there. The coach moved on. He decided to stay. Father was an NFL wide receiver for about 4 years, so it kind of runs in the family. Look, very clear strengths and weaknesses here, okay? Big body, we like that. Good route runner. I would say good technique, good footwork off the line of scrimmage, can create separation. If you want to see him at his best as a route runner, go watch the Tennessee and Georgia game, because he was facing press coverage from Kelee Ringo, one of the top cornerback prospects in this year's draft, on a consistent basis, and he beat Kelee often. And it wasn't with his speed, because he doesn't have much speed, but it was with his technique. So if you want to watch him as a route runner, I would suggest doing that. That was impressive to me. And also, it's rare to see these prospects face press coverage, but Georgia's such a good defense on everywhere else that they were able to do that. Not going to give you anything after the catch, though. His yards after the catch per reception was 2.9 this year. That is an awful number. In fact, that is 209th of 233 wide receivers who at least saw 55 targets this year. So doesn't give you a lot of versatility or elusiveness or twitchiness or after the catch. Isn't very fast, but good, solid route runner who has decent hands and good size. So I'll take him here at the 3-6, and let's see if the draft capital pushes him up. Do you see OSU running back I think it's Mayan Williams being a draftable player? I need to do more work on him, so I can't really comment at this point. Tillman, yes. Do you do Devi content? No, man. We do redraft and dynasty content. We do have a redraft channel, which goes off in the regular season. But Devi, if you're doing Devi, honestly, that needs to be your entire focus. I don't know how people would do more than Devi. There are so many schools, so many players in college football. Kincaid, yeah, that's definitely not a bad pick here. Is it Abaconda? Israel Abaconda? I know you had that huge game where you had like 6 touchdowns. What's up, Kevin? All right, I don't know if Daniel's here, so we'll see if he goes on auto. But if he doesn't, what do you guys want here? Give me a name in the chat that you want me to draft if Daniel goes on auto here, because I'm not sure how many people are still going to be here at this point. You know, honestly, I don't have many graphics left to put up on the screen anyway. I don't have any more wide receiver graphics. I do have a couple tight ends, a couple running backs, and a couple quarterbacks. Oh, I wish I would have drafted. Oh, dang. Okay. It's too late to draft him now. Ooh, Darnell Washington. Yeah, he should have definitely gone by now with the draft capital he got, for sure. Raheem Jarrett will be a 2nd rounder, a 3rd round pick. I know him personally. Yeah, we talked about Raheem a little bit, or I believe it's Raheem. Thanks for the sub. We talked about him a little bit. Obviously, highly recruited prospect. I think a lot of his troubles have come from quarterback play, but his drop issue definitely needs to.
What the?
I mean, that drop rate is really high for Rakim. I'm not saying it's all on him because he definitely had pretty bad quarterback play, but I'm sure he's aware. All right, at 3-7, I'm actually going to put Darnell Washington there. I'm going to make an executive decision. He got pretty good draft capital, so to be fair, I actually think maybe I should have drafted him before I took Cedric Tillman, but pretty good draft capital. I don't know what he's going to be in the NFL. He was the 36th overall pick here to the Saints. Huge frame, 6'7", 265, but not a lot of production at all. But to be fair, we don't typically see huge numbers out of tight ends in college football. And he was splitting time with Brock Bowers and a couple other really good tight ends they have there. So we'll go Darnell Washington here, and let's see what young Cub has on the radar, if he's got any names in mind. There's one name in mind that I really want you guys to draft. I hope someone drafts him. And he's really like the last guy I envision people knowing. Actually, I'll take that back. There's still like 3. Okay, Mohamed Ibrahim. I don't have a graphic for Mohamed Ibrahim, but we will leave him there. And I myself definitely need to do more research on him as a prospect. But just so you guys can put a name to the face, he is out of Minnesota. This is Mohamed here. Huge production this year. He is coming out as a senior, 5'10", 210 pounds. I mean, that's pretty good size for a running back. He could definitely handle some carries in the NFL. I cannot speak to his film, but pretty good production this year. So definitely a name that we should be looking at. I would say like the 3rd and like 4th round guys we'll do a lot more research come January, February. All right, let's see if Cole's got anyone in mind. What are we thinking, Cole?
What the?
Oh, is he a 6-year senior? Okay. That's tough. So what, is he going to be like 23 years old or something? 6th year? McBride. Okay. I like that pick. Dwayne McBride. Again, still need to watch more of his film, but another guy who put up, really impressive production out of UAB. Huge numbers, really efficient. So definitely a name to watch for sure. Let me see if I can help you guys put another name to a face here. Because again, we're definitely still in that knowledge phase. Everyone learning names and learning players. Okay, this is Dwayne McBride. Huge numbers this year. 19 touchdowns, was definitely the team's offense. Coming out as a junior, 5'11", 215. Again, a really good size for a running back. 19 touchdowns, averaging 7.4 yards per carry. Obviously not facing the most difficult competition like some of these other running backs, but definitely a name that should be on the radar for like end of third round, no doubt. All right, D-Tarnt, what we doing here? What we doing here, brother man? Let me know. All right, we got a punter. D-Tarnt's gone for a punter here. And who is the rookie? That's what I want to know. Tanner McKee. Good pick. I mean, he got drafted in this mock draft that we're using. And he's got like the Davis Mills tools. Big body. I think he's 6'6", if I'm not mistaken. Definitely not the most athletic player, but kind of your classic sit in the pocket type of player. Good arm. Good mechanics. And if I'm not mistaken, he went... Where did Tanner McKee go here? Did he go to the Bucks? Yes, he went to the Bucks in the third round. So that's not bad. Not bad draft capital at all. Good pick there that late. Spinola. I don't know if Spinola is active or not. We'll have to wait and see. Who did Young Cub take? He took Mohammed Ibrahim out of Minnesota. I don't have a graphic for him, so we weren't able to, unfortunately, add a graphic for him. I'll definitely make sure we add one for the next stream, though. All right, I feel like this is going to be an auto, and I think the last two players are probably going to end up being an auto. If I had to, like, suggest names, say, like, maybe Jaron Hall out of BYU. Probably Israel Abanikanda at this point. You could consider like a Deuce Vaughn, a Kenny McIntosh. A lot of NFL teams are higher on him than the Dynasty community. The RB2 on Texas, Rashawn Johnson. I think he could be considered here. You could consider one of the tight ends. Dalton Kincaid, probably a good pick. Actually, Dalton Kincaid probably is a good pick here. Let's go Kincaid here. We're gonna pick for him.
What the?
Thanks for the sub. We'll go Kincaid there. Very, very good weapon for Utah this year. And then to end the draft, I'm gonna put Israel here to end the draft. You might know him from his 6 touchdown game. We'll see what the NFL thinks about him. Again, draft capital is going to be really important for a guy like him, but has a good skill set for sure. Cool, thanks. Kincaid, yep, we got him in there, and we got him in there. Yes, sir. Great work on the Photoshop, thanks. Spencer Petras. We'll have to learn a little bit more about him, but guys, that is the mock draft. Again, just want to say a huge thank you for the support on today's stream. I can say confidently that we've never had this many likes on a stream ever. We've certainly had them after like a week of it being on the channel, but definitely not on stream live. 169 likes is crazy. And every like definitely does help. Why does it help? Because it simply pushes the content to YouTube. If you like something on YouTube, or you comment in the chat, or you subscribe to a channel, that tells YouTube that you like that content, and YouTube wants people to watch their content because they make money off of it. So anytime you like a stream, or you like content, you subscribe, that improves the algorithm for our channel. So I do really, really appreciate that. If there's anyone out there who hasn't dropped a like yet, it would mean a lot to us if you could do so. Thanks for the subs. Thanks for the likes. Really, really does mean a whole lot. And I'll leave time here for a Q&A. So if you guys have any last minute questions, feel free to ask them now. I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Thanks for the subs today as well. I think we just got a lot of subs today. I think I started at 338. Does anybody remember the beginning of the stream? What did I start at? It might have been less. I might be over. I started at 3388. I'm looking at it now. 3388. Wow. Okay, quick maths. Let's have a look. So we gained 38 subs today. That's awesome, guys. Thank you so much for the subs. You know, if you do like Dynasty content, great channel to be a part of. Someone unsubscribed. Someone subscribed maybe. I don't know. Either way. But thank you for the subs, guys. Really do appreciate it. Last thing I'll say, let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to do a Q&A. But I've said it a couple times already. I'm trying to be more active on Twitter. I know it's important to the Dynasty community, to the fantasy community as a whole. So if you could do me a favor and follow me if you like the content. If you want to hear like things about prospects, future prospects to consider, rankings for the 2024 class, 2025 players to look at, buy lows, sell highs, those kind of things, consider giving me a follow if you're on Twitter and you're big into that space. Okay, let's leave time now for Q&A. Fuego, nice draft, thank you. He was just a joke from an Iowa fan. Wait, who are we talking? Oh, okay, gotcha. I jumped in a little late, but I'm going to watch the whole thing after you're done. Awesome. Dropped a like. Yes, dropped out like everyone. One of the best fantasy football minds in the space right here. Oh, wow. Thank you. I don't know if that's true, but I appreciate that. What would it cost to get the 101 from you? I would say like a high impact young positional player and draft capital. It would take a lot. Like I saw a trade actually on our Dynasty Trades text channel in our Discord this week where someone was able to get AJ Brown. I think it was like AJ Brown. I think an RB2. I can't remember who the RB2 was, and like multiple firsts. Like if I get that kind of package, yeah, I'll make the move, but it'll take a lot. What do you think about Rome Odunze? Definitely need to give him a more in-depth look. No doubt, I need to give him a more in-depth look. What helps you decide whether to take a shot on a quarterback or not? I would say I'll review quarterback film. Like we look at quarterback film and we try to evaluate them. But if, like for example, last year, I liked Malik Willis. Obviously the negatives were there. But when the NFL didn't like him like everyone else did, that instantly tells me, okay, I know that NFL scouts are better at scouting at quarterbacks than I am, so I'm going to trust that process. But draft capital is important. Hey, thanks for the sub. Draft capital is important. Coaching staff is important. Like who's around you? Do they have a history of building quarterbacks up? Those kind of things I would say are pretty important. And what is the environment he's stepping into? What's the offensive line? What are the weapons around him? Those kind of things. Appreciate that, Kevin. Who was the pick that you didn't have a photo of again? That was Mohammed Ibrahim, I believe, out of Minnesota. Where are you taking Bijan in Dynasty Startup? I would say he's probably right at that 1-2 turn of the first, second round. So right around like 110 to the 2-2, I would say I would anticipate him going. I think that's going to be very normal. I have the 101 and going to ask for the 102, 106 Garrett Wilson, and a 23 206. Yeah, like in that scenario, I am super happy to do that kind of deal, for sure. I would take the 102, and then I would take probably Gibbs if I want a running back, or take one of these quarterbacks that I like, or take JSN and just guarantee him there, like depending on what you want. At the 106, again, like take take whatever you want. You already got an impact wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. Yeah, I would do that kind of move for sure. Anyway, guys, we're going on 2 hours and 11 minutes that I've been live. So probably going to end it here. But again, I just want to say a huge thank you for the love today, for the support on the stream. We're going to keep doing these mock drafts a lot. Simple ways to support us: liking the streams, liking the videos that we put out, subscribing. We have a Patreon if you're interested in that. You can become a YouTube member to support. Follow us on Twitter, our socials. You can follow our redraft channel, which you'll find in our Dynasty channel in the About section. And then the last thing I would say is if you want to keep watching Dynasty content and you haven't yet watched my top 10 receivers video, I would highly suggest to give it a watch. This video that I just pasted in the chat is a culmination of about 30 days work, about a month's work from film evaluation, analytics, research, and editing, recording. It's a culmination of a lot of work. So if you want to learn a little bit more and deep dive into these wide receivers, I would suggest that video could be something you could add to your queue. Outside of that, huge love. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you again very soon. I have my Dynasty tight end tier rankings coming out your time tomorrow morning. So that will be another video for you guys to watch. And we will see you on the next stream. All love. Thanks for the support, and we'll see you soon.